The main reason why I am so passionate about this is because you don't own DSPs, digital streaming platforms. You don't own them. You don't own Instagram. You don't own TikTok. TikTok is literally always on the news about being talked about how they're going to shut it down because the government no longer wants them to be a part of the United States community. So you never know when these platforms are going to disappear. And when it disappears, what are you going to do? So as the title says, I'm co-founder and marketing director for Medium Creative Agency. And tonight they had asked 24/7 artists asked me what I wanted to talk about. And I was like, I want to leave it to y'all to really just come up with questions because I work better in that type of format. But I did put together some frequently asked questions for marketing when it comes to music business or just creative entrepreneurs in general. And so I'm going to go ahead and share that with you all. And then once I go over those quick questions, then I'm going to open up the floor to all of you to ask me anything and everything marketing related. So drop a 1 in the chat if you are ready for this right now and you got a whole bunch of questions ready. And if you don't, just take notes as I'm talking. And then if you got a question towards the end, you can drop it. So before I start with this presentation, how many of y'all have been basically on the struggle bus when it comes to marketing yourself or branding your music on social media, DSPs, all the things? Drop emojis, drop whatever. Yes, whatever it is, drop it in here. All right, cool. I'm seeing y'all. Okay. Now, how many of y'all have had somewhat of an experience with marketing, but you feel like consistency was the biggest struggle for you? First, frequently asked question that I always hear when it comes to my consultations is, what's the difference between marketing, advertising, and branding? The second one is, how can I get my music and or content to go viral? Third is, can I just pay a marketing expert to do everything for me? I don't even want to handle it. Do I really need an email database to send out to newsletters? Can't I just be on one platform instead of being on all the platforms that are available to us? Facebook, Instagram, whatever. What's the difference between SEO and SEM? How can I get more people to my Spotify or YouTube? And the last question is, do I really need to have merchandise for my music brand? So first question, what's the difference between marketing, branding, and advertising? So a lot of times people think that marketing is all of these three things. It's not. The only thing that I would say that pairs with marketing is advertising. And that's why it tends to get confused a lot of times, because it's a form of marketing. So marketing is basically focusing on the customer. It's the process of learning about your target fan or audience through market research, understanding what they need from music, showing them how your music or your product can help them feel validated. And then for branding, your main goal for branding is to establish your music business in the industry and facilitate the building of relationships with your target fan or audience. And sometimes not just your target fan or audience, sometimes it's with the music professionals in the industry as well, because you're going to need basically those shareholders that are going to be promoting and advocating you once you start pumping out the library. And then the main thing with branding, which I like to pair this along with my marketing, is making sure that they both have functional and emotional purposes. Because as you all know, when it comes to marketing, and we're all consumers at the end of the day, the one thing that really grabs our attention is when we can relate to it emotionally. And so branding really is a great thing to include when you do have marketing and advertising. And then for advertising, you're basically paying for your music, for your content to be put in front of a specific type of audience. And that's why it is a form of marketing, because it pairs amazing when you do organic marketing and advertising together. Okay, so how can I get my stuff like going viral, right? So at the end of the day, it's all about consistency. It's basically, if you can't show up daily on your social media, if you can't show up daily for yourself as a music brand in person or whatever, at least show up weekly. Like set aside 2 to 3 days aside and have your content going out, going live. Even if you're just posting one story for every 24 hours, that's consistency. Topics that increase shareability. So as I've been doing research and been working more and more in this music marketing world, it's all about, does your content have a high number of shareability? So the second the person hears it, is it tapping into their emotions? Is it making them want to share to their friends, to their family, on their own platforms? And then interacting with your audience and the community is super key, because of TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, any platform, even Spotify and YouTube, if they see that your profile is not connecting with other members of the community in that platform, they're not going to help push your content forward on the Explore page or For You page. You may see it here once in a while, but as far as like giving you that full-on push, they're not going to do it if they don't see you contributing to their community. Because at the end of the day, if they feel like you're not keeping users on their platform forever and never getting off, they're not going to want to help you out. And then understanding that you are the author of your own algorithm. So I feel like people are always asking me, Sabrina, how can I get around, or how can I basically crack the code when it comes to the algorithm? And I always answer them with, well, what have you been doing? And when I usually look at their content, they're either not doing any of the things that they told me that they want out of their audience, or out of what they want out of their own branding. And so the algorithm, these social media platforms, and even the DSPs, they have an AI that reads and basically calculates everything that you do on your profile. And if you're not doing anything based off of the goals that you have set for yourself, if you don't even know who your target audience is, or even your ideal fan, the algorithm is going to work against you because you're not setting the tone for it. And so that is basically my quick answer to that. And of course, I'm sure if you're going to have more questions on this specific topic, we can go into it a little further at the end of this. Can I just pay a marketing expert and let them handle everything for me? Short answer, no. Okay. Whenever you hire a marketing professional, even if you have an intern or somebody in the team to help you out, that's a friend or family member that's wanting to help you out, you can't expect to hire or appoint somebody that task and then do nothing else. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately, right? It sounds like a good idea. So it's not, because here's an example. You appoint a marketing professional to handle everything for you, but then when it comes to your content goes live, who's engaging with the audience? The audience isn't going to want to engage with some robot or some person that they don't know. They're going to want to engage with you because they want to relate to you. They want to feel like that they're contributing to your story, vice versa. So whenever you are getting ready to hire a marketing expert, you need to make sure that you have press photos. You need to make sure that you have your goals. And if you don't have your goals written out and you don't know where to start and you're frustrated, that's where a consultation would come with a marketing expert, or that's when you would have a sit down session with your team. Look for a marketing template or a content strategy template and sit down and go over your content goals, your music business goals, your sales goals, all the goals. Okay. And that's going to help you be able to basically set a strategy for yourself. And then you work hand in hand with that marketing expert or with that person in your team that is handling the marketing for you, and always having fresh content no matter what. So short answer, like I said, no. All right. Now, do I really need an email database? Yes. Yes. For the love of God, yes. The main reason why I am so passionate about this is because you don't own DSPs. Digital streaming platforms. You don't own them. You don't own Instagram. You don't own TikTok. TikTok is literally always on the news about being talked about how they're going to shut it down because the government no longer wants them to be a part of the United States community. So you never know when these platforms are going to disappear. And when it disappears, what are you going to do? You're going to basically be SOL, right? Because you basically put all this time, all this content, and then it disappears. So now you have no way to contact people that have been advocating for you and have been supporting you. And that's where email newsletters, as well as text messaging apps, are very helpful. This would be a great way to start it as well, where you get people's emails. You can also get people's phone numbers, and you can directly contact them through the phone. Okay. I mean, I don't know if any of y'all remember when Instagram shut down. I think it was about 2 summers ago, or maybe a summer ago. And a lot of people were freaking out. And this is a major reason why email marketing has really shown how awesome it is at the end of the day. So please, if you don't have an email newsletter or an email database, at least, you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to be emailing every day, like those annoying newsletters that we get from some websites that we sign up for like a course and things like that. Like you literally could do a quarterly email and then you're good. But it's great to have these emails on hand, especially whenever you have announcements, pre-save campaigns, merch announcements, live show announcements, all the things. So you need a newsletter or a database. All right. So can I just be on one platform? It all depends. If you are seasoned and you have been doing music for like 5+ years and you've been showing up on a specific platform, yes, you need to be on all platforms, especially if you're doing a public relations campaign, marketing campaign, and especially if you're going on tour, releasing content like basically repeatedly every 6 to 9 weeks, because and basically what I'm saying with that is you need to be on all the platforms because there's different audiences, different communities that you can be tapping into, because we all know that TikTok and Instagram don't have the same audience. LinkedIn and Facebook don't have the same audience. And Pinterest is an amazing place for you to tap into, especially if you are a music producer, songwriter, playlist curator, and all music artists would benefit from Pinterest because it's another search engine that whenever you share your content on there, it never goes away. There's people that have been posted Pinterest 3-4 years ago, and they're still getting hits on that same pin that they posted 3-4 years ago today. So don't sleep on Pinterest. Now, if you are just starting out, I would say, like, if you get overwhelmed easily, especially me, like I can't do too much when I'm starting something, just start with one platform or two. And if you were to pick two, I would honestly pick Facebook, and it can go between Instagram or TikTok. Depends on where you're most comfortable with. The reason why I chose Facebook is because they have an amazing music video section for music artists. And it still ranks #1 when it comes to marketing. And then for Instagram or TikTok, they have the Reels and the TikTok situation that's very, very beneficial for your video content. What's the difference between SEO and SEM? SEO, search engine optimization. SEM is search engine marketing. So SEO focuses on getting traffic from organic searches. SEM focuses on getting traffic from organic and paid searches. So if you're starting out and you're developing a blog or a website, or even just like your captions and all that on your Instagram or TikTok, Facebook, that would be actually benefiting your SEO. Anytime you post anything on social media, what your caption says is a part of the SEO. So make sure you're always tapping into keywords when it comes to that. Now, when you're really wanting to draw in more attention and have a wider audience and a wider reach, SEM is going to be your #1 go-to because you're having organic and paid searches that's coming from that. So again, if you're just starting out, focus on SEM. And if you're more seasoned and you've been doing great with both organic and paid searches, then start tapping into SEO and researching on that. How can I get more people to my Spotify or YouTube? Simple answer is clear call to action. In other words, whenever you create content, always have something on your video saying, hey, go check out my new song, or however you want to word it. But before you do a clear call to action, you want to make sure that whatever content that you are sharing, you are tapping into that person's emotion, you're relating to them. And then campaigns for advertisement. So Spotify campaigns and YouTube campaigns are some of my favorite things to do for artists whenever they need organic marketing and paid advertising done together. And basically there's like conversion campaigns that you can do, which you would convert followers into listeners. And then there's also engagement campaigns that you can do, which is bringing on more impressions and a wider reach. And then for consistent content, you want to make sure, and I'm telling you this from the inside, Spotify editors have told me specifically, we want fresh content from every artist every 6 to 9 weeks. If they want consistency, if they want growth, if they want to be possibly looked at for editorial playlists, every 6 to 9 weeks is what they're looking for when it comes to releases. And if you're looking at that, you're like, what? Like, it takes me once a quarter to release something. You need to adjust that and see how you can start pumping out music every 9 weeks. It doesn't have to be a strong hit every time. It literally could be, I call them a Lucy. It could be like a freestyle, Lucy, whatever, something that's not so strong, but something that you're giving to your audience. You're feeding them something over and over again. And then, of course, you can have like your strong releases as well. And you just do a rollout strategy and you just plan it out for the entire year and you're good to go. That's a little bit more of like a rollout strategy, project management type of role. But I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff too. So if you need to ask me any questions about that specific stuff, project management and rollout strategies, please by all means ask me too on this Q&A session. And then for YouTube, I always suggest that an artist has fresh video content weekly on YouTube. And I know some of you are like, how can I have something new weekly? It doesn't have to be music videos. It literally could be a vlog, YouTube shorts. I mean, if you haven't tapped into YouTube shorts yet, highly recommend you do, because actually in my reports that I just got this past week, as of February, I believe the second week of February, they are officially monetizing YouTube shorts. So if you haven't tapped into it or you have been tapping into it, now's the time to really have a consistent strategy, consistent schedule of posting onto YouTube shorts. And you can even like revisit old music videos that you released to make it into a YouTube short, because it allows you to share a clip of it and you can promote it that way. You can show people your face. You can show people what you do behind the scenes. It's a great way to bring in more traffic to your YouTube and more subscribers. I actually have a client, his name is Lucid. And he's from Virginia, but he moved out to the West Coast. He started tapping into YouTube shorts. And I believe like within 24 hours, he had received just 12 subscribers off of one YouTube short. And he was consistently pumping those out. And he's received about 50 plus in the last, I think when I was working with him in the last 4 weeks or so. So YouTube shorts are the way to go. Don't sleep on that. Do I really need to have merchandise for my music brand? Yes. And I speak heavily on this when it comes to marketing, because at the end of the day, it's like, it's your billboard. You're walking around in your merch. You got other people walking around in your merch. It's a great way to build in on your sales model. Don't focus just on streams. You need to focus also on sales, because at the end of the day, this is business, right? And so merch is a great way to be able to create that extra source of income for yourself as a music artist. Whenever you have a live show, even if you're doing an open mic, you can have a table set up, or you can even offer on stage that you have merchandise available for purchase. It doesn't have to be anything super expensive in the beginning. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Literally can just be some buttons, some stickers, a hat, a fanny pack, whatever, a poster. I spoke with an artist. She has posters that she sells, and people are buying them all the time from her at the shows after they see her perform. I even was listening to somebody. It was super random. I was working out on my Peloton app, and the Peloton trainer was basically talking about Prince. And she said when she first had heard of Prince, of course she's in her 40s. When she first had heard of Prince, she was like, he's okay. Her friend had bought her some tickets. And then she went to the show. She said, till this day, still the best concert that she has ever attended. She bought all things merch, all things vinyl, CDs, all the things. She said that she had to get her hands on everything. And just from her going to a live show, she wanted to buy it all. So imagine you do a live show, somebody attends, and then they're like, okay, I want to buy something. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And I was actually very angry that they didn't have merch for me to buy, because I'm like the merch queen. If I love what you're doing and I love your brand, I want to buy something. Yeah, exactly. I know. So I'm not going to tell you who the artist was, but I definitely had called Q one time when I was taking photos for this tour. And I was like, babe, I need this hat. And he was like, how much is it? And I was like, it's $60. He was like, you really need it that bad? I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't ever want to forget this moment. And I bought it. And a lot of times when people have an amazing experience, they don't care what the price tag is. They just want to support. All right. And that's basically the frequently asked questions. I'm going to have 24/7 artists have this presentation available to y'all in the community on the app. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor to all of you to start asking me questions right now.
Yo, Sabrina, that was dope. Super informative. I learned a lot.
Thank you.
Specifically, I got to get on Facebook because I don't think I've posted anything music on Facebook in like a year.
Yeah.
Question I get asked all the time is there a minimum budget an artist starting out should have for like their first release or one of their first release?
Good question. So actually, one of my clients, he's watching right now, Zavi, I just helped him with this. So I would say starting out budget for a single release or for the marketing. Which one are you talking about?
Let's say single release.
Single release. So I strongly suggest that you would have at least 1,500 for a single release. That's basically making sure that and it depends on what type of producer, because if it's a higher end producer, a well-known producer, it's probably going to be more than that. But if you find a producer that is not all the way like super famous yet and is starting out the same level as you, I say 1,500 is a good price because you're covering the studio time with the producer, you're covering basically cover art and the production itself. Now, if you're going to start including marketing into that, clearly you need to have like at least $3,000 for like the marketing and the release together. And then if you're needing a lawyer or legal representation, I just went through this with my client. He had to pay the retainer fee for the lawyer to look over the contract between him and the producer. So with that, you could easily look at another $1,500. So it all depends on what you're needing, what level you're at. But bare minimum 1,500.
Got you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, as always, you can use the Q&A button. You can put your hand up if you want to come up and speak with Sabrina, ask questions directly as well.
Yeah.
Somebody said, what's the budget breakdown for the 3K? I guess for the 1,500 portion of that 3K you were talking about for the marketing. What's the breakdown for the marketing?
So for the marketing, it would cover so for 1,500 for marketing, it would cover content strategy, it would cover advertising even. You should look for a marketing professional that ties in the budget with an ad spend. That way you can have that ad spend set aside. So sometimes with me personally, I charge 1,500. So out of that 1,500, 250 would be put towards ads. And of course, if you want to add more to that, you can. And then, and it could be it could be ads on Spotify, it could be ads on YouTube, which those are at minimum $250. If you're ever trying to do like an actual serious campaign, whatever you do, for any of you that are listening right now, please, for the love of God, don't use third party playlisters, don't use third party advertising companies. Just directly use it on platforms that offer ads like Facebook. They call it now Meta Business Suite, the Spotify ads, Google ads. There is one company that I'll share with you all, and I actually have an affiliate link to them, and I'm going to share it with this community because I'm very grateful for all the stuff that you have given me as well, the time that you all have given me and things I've been learning. There's a company called Rise, and they actually work with a lot of the record labels throughout the country, even overseas, and they handle Spotify campaigns and YouTube campaigns. They also offer TikTok and Facebook and other stuff, but I don't suggest those because I want the artists to get really comfortable with doing the marketing themselves and not putting so much money to ads. I don't know if y'all peeped or if any of y'all have done ads before, but because of even with like inflation, ad prices are sky high now. Like before, it used to be $250 for a Spotify ad would have gotten me 25 clicks per minute. Now it's $44. So whenever you do decide to do ads, make sure that you do your research, you get comfortable with the organic marketing first, and then start trickling into ads. If you want to start small, Facebook has I have a great strategy with Facebook that you pay as little as $1 a day. And it helps you get some type of consistency with your ad if you do need to like boost something. But for 3K for marketing, it's not 3K for marketing a single, it's 1,500 for the single release bare minimum, $1,500 for a marketing campaign that's really effective. And if you are having legal representation, it can be anywhere from like $1,500 to $1,900, depending on the experience of the lawyer. So that's what that breakdown is, if that helps.
Cool.
No, so the website is actually rise.la, and I'm gonna give you my affiliate link right now while I'm waiting for you all to ask another question.
Yeah, this was literally the question I was going to ask. Perfect.
We should
So you mentioned we should release music every 6 to 9 weeks. Are we running that marketing campaign every 6 to 9 weeks as well? So are we doing that budget every 6 to 9 weeks?
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is based off of the pricing that my agency does, and because based off of what my agency does, is $1,500 per month, if that makes sense. So like if you release a song, if you out of the 3 months, you want to release a song, you want to release 2 singles, it would be $1,500 per month. That's if that makes sense.
Yeah, and some of the artists we work with who've signed larger distribution deals or joint deals with labels, a lot of them are moving to that some of us are like 4 to 6 weeks releases, and the marketing spends are duplicated every 4 to 6 weeks. And even at that level, even if it's, $7,500 or $12,500 per release, they're spending that religiously, consistently.
Yeah.
Even if the first record hits, they're still putting a record out 6 weeks later and spending another $12,000.
And thanks for saying that. Yeah, thanks for saying that, because the people that I work with at Rise, the company that I mentioned to you all, they even say that too. Like if you're going to have a consistent campaign, an ad campaign going, set aside at least $250 a month for the ad alone. But what I tell artists is if you're going to do the ad, you want to make sure you have an organic marketing. And so if you're not comfortable with doing the marketing yourself, you need to hire a professional to help you with that consistency and to hold you accountable, even if you're hiring a marketing specialist because they may have relationships with specific people to help you out with that. Then I would suggest doing the marketing campaigns. But if you are starting with a low budget, because I'm a firm believer in this, like at the end of the day, I want you all to keep this as a business. I don't want you all to like put so much money into this and you're not getting any return of investment. Bare minimum, at least have $500 aside a month if you're just starting out a budget. That $500 could cover 2 campaigns, Spotify and YouTube. It could cover somebody putting the ad together for you, because it's more than just submitting it. You have to make sure you have press photos. You have to make sure you have video clips to promote the ad. A lot of times there's a lot of A and B testing with these ads. So they'll do one for a photo, one with the video. They'll see which one does better. You also have to make sure you have a bio, an introduction of who you are. You need to make sure that your Spotify is on point. And so that's why a marketing specialist would be really good for you to hire when you do get that budget, because they'll be able to make sure all those things are optimized. So that way, when you do an ad, it's not going to basically be throwing something at the wall and hoping it sticks. Because a lot of times I'll see people pay for the ad. They'll just like pay me to just handle the ad for them. And they don't want nothing else. They want the bare minimum. But then their Spotify is missing a bio. Their Spotify is missing photos. It's missing links. Their YouTube is not tagged properly. Their YouTube doesn't have keywords. Their thumbnails are horrible. Their titles are horrible. And then they wonder, well, I spent $250 in an ad, but I didn't really get anything out of it. Well, yeah, because you don't have all the things optimized the way it needs to be. So, and then keeping it up.
I love it.
Yeah. So what about TikTok ads? Do you think if they are effective to grow TikTok account or get streamed at a better set? In my personal opinion, I am not a fan of TikTok ads. I'm a huge fan of organic content strategy on TikTok. Instagram is a little different because it's paired with Facebook, and the way they have it set up, it seems to work better with TikTok because of the type of community. It's all about transparency. And if you are going to pay for an ad, you really want to test it out. The ad budget for that is I would say about $50 more for an effective one than an Instagram ad. And the difference too is that when TikTok has you pay for an ad, their actual team has told marketers, don't create ads, create TikToks. And I don't know if you've been scrolling through on TikTok and you'll see some sponsored TikToks, but it looks like an actual TikTok, like somebody's in their room like I am, and they're just like talking on the phone. It's an ad, but you can't tell because it just seems so real and transparent. It doesn't seem like that they're trying to sell you something. But then you pair it with the ones like the companies, the major companies that have like these super produced, well lit, everything looks super perfect, but it doesn't do as great as the ones that seem like an actual TikTok or actual organic content. So I suggest if you're starting out and you haven't really perfected with your content on TikTok already, wait. Save that money for Facebook ads to convert people to go to Spotify. That's what I suggest. Or save that money, put it aside to actually pay for a content strategy. Put that money aside to actually use that towards merchandise that you can purchase. And then once you get to that level where your content is having a good amount of views, it's having a great amount of shares, comments, engagement should be your number one priority when it comes to marketing. Then you can start doing ads to pair it up with it. Okay, so I know marketing, publishing are different, but do they do similar things? I'm not very savvy with publishing. I even had to call Yudu today to ask him for some help on that. So I don't think they are. What's interesting though is I learned that publishing and labels are very similar. Would you say that they're similar, Yudu, marketing and publishing? I don't think so.
I mean, publishing is really administration, right? So publishing is really like people who are taking care of the songwriter and the producer. Where it helps, and what Sabrina's talking about is, for the artists who are looking to get a publishing deal or publishing situation, publishing companies use the same metrics and the same hype factor in finding songwriters and producers. They look at the number of followers you have. They look at your engagement. They look at who you've worked with. They look at your bios. All of those things are how they really decide if you're worth the advance that they would give you. So the byproduct of solid marketing usually will lead to publishing situations. Because again, if it was about talent, a lot of the people going to the Grammys next week wouldn't be going to the Grammys. It's not about talent. It's about everything around the talent. And marketing is a huge part of that. So even if you're a singer-songwriter and you're not necessarily an artist and on the forefront, if you can do the right things marketing yourself, you can put yourself in a position to get a publishing deal. And it might just simply be how you present yourself on these platforms and on your website and on your overall branding. Just using the right words, keywords, hashtags, worked with, all of those things consistent across your platforms could be the make or break it in a publishing deal, or it could even be the difference in how much they offer you. When they find out you've worked with someone at this level, they'll offer you more money. And it's weird. There are people who have these major placements and don't really promote it. They're super humble. And then when they go get the publishing deal, they get lowballed because they haven't, not marketed, but they haven't branded themselves properly. So I've learned something. There's a difference between marketing and branding. So
yeah, huge difference. Now, I saw that there was an anonymous question too. And before I answer that question, I wanted to touch on something that is piggybacking off of what you just said. So red flags when it comes to looking for a marketing specialist. This also could tie well with a publicist because my husband is a publicist. And whenever you see somebody, or even if somebody slides into your DM and is like, hey, I see that your engagement is not really there yet. I can really help with your marketing. I can guarantee you this. Marketing, public relations cannot guarantee exact numbers. That's a red flag. Okay. For example, let's say you hire somebody because you want to get 10,000 followers, but you're at 1,000 followers right now. You really want to hit that 10,000 mark, right? If a marketer comes to you and tells you, yeah, I can do that for you. No, because here's the thing. It could be there's a lot of scenarios. The artist that hired this professional to get 10,000 followers, they're not sending the proper assets, or they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing consistently on their social media. So how is that going to help when the marketer is trying to implement some things and the artist is not being active? The artist isn't going to reach that goal. Another scenario would be that a marketer will tell them, well, I can help you get on these specific things, as far as like I can pitch you to playlisters or make playlist editors be able to find your content and all that. they can't force people to look at your stuff. At the end of the day, when you're showing up consistently, one of the things that you actually shared with me today on our consultation, it reminded me with when we went to the YouTube Avenues event in the DMV, I think it was Kevin Lyles. He said, like, somebody had asked him, how can I make sure that my content is showing up at your desk? And he was like, if you're doing the work that you need to do and you're being consistent and you're fire and you're engaging, I'm going to find you. You don't have to come to me. And so it's the same thing with the marketing. Like, if anybody ever guarantees you to get your name out to a certain person, or guarantees you specific looks, guarantees you specific amount of followers at a specific time frame, run far away, because a lot of times they're using bots, they're paying other third-party things. And then when you look at your analytics, you're going to see how screwed up it is. And it's going to be very hard to come back from that, because Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they know when you're paying for followers. They know when you're paying for people to show up on comments and to write those weird spammy comments and things like that. I also wanted to suggest, before I answer the next question, is stay away from those automated messages on DMs, because people know when there's a copy and pasted message or an automated message to them. They can't relate to it. They feel like it's like, they're just like they're just looking at me as another follower, another number. If you do, when you are starting out, talk to everybody who follows you. Even if they're a little weird, so what? Okay, talk to them, engage with them, show them that you see them. If you can't physically do it all the time, especially for those of us that are introverts, I'm an introvert. I'm a extroverted introvert. It can be hard. It can be overwhelming. So that's when you would have somebody close to you that you trust, that knows your tone of voice, knows how you would respond, and they can help you and tag team with you on responding to messages. So stay away from those types of things. Now, okay, so one of the questions was, what does a thought out content strategy look like? Okay, so I can actually share my screen and show you the skeleton of one that hasn't been filled out. So let me go ahead and share it. So a well thought out content strategy. You're going to have a calendar, and you can put this on a spreadsheet, or you can actually print out a calendar. If you're old school, you like to write it out yourself. And you're going to basically put down the format. You're going to put down the publishing location and then the frequency. Now, when you're thinking about the frequency, I know a lot of times you'll hear a lot of conflicting arguments about, like on TikTok, you have to post 10 times a day to get da-da-da-da. No, you don't. Okay. Don't fall into the hustle culture lie. You don't have to do that. Just be realistic with your schedule, be realistic with your mental health, and actually pick out dates that you are at peace with. Okay. And then just stick to it. Be consistent with it for 30 days. If you can only post 2 times a week, that's fine. Just make sure that you're pushing yourself. After 30 days, then move to 3 times a week. And then after 90 days, move to 5 times a week. Okay. Just push yourself. And then music business goals. I would like to include this in a content strategy, because if you know how much you want to make back, if you want to see the return of investment for a specific amount, email signups, what type of development do you want to see? Write these down, because this will help you hold yourself accountable, or your team hold you accountable. And then content goals, details, or time frame. And then making sure that you're really honing in on keywords. That's the number one thing with marketing, is your captions are your SEO. It's basically a mini blog. Okay, whatever you put in your captions. That's why when people were like, well, I posted my video and it was really, really good and well thought out, but then I look at their caption, it'll be like an emoji, or like, this is how I was feeling. But it's not telling the platform what you're talking about. Okay, with TikTok, they look at the video, they look at the text on the video, they look at your caption, then they look at your hashtags last. It's the same thing with Instagram. Instagram's AI, Facebook's AI is not as advanced as TikTok, which we probably all know why. That's probably why the government is trying to get rid of TikTok in the US. So that's why TikTok tends to have a better response when it comes to SEO and when it comes to the algorithm seeing what you're posting. you want to make sure you're tapping into your target audience. And I think I shared this with the community. If I haven't, I'll make sure to share it again. It's a brand exercise, and it's basically having you create two fan members that you would like to have, not that what you currently have. Because a lot of times when I've done this exercise with people, they'll be like, well, I have women ages 25 to 35. And I'm like, no, what's your ideal audience? Because a lot of times people that I have been working with where they get a roadblock, where they hit a roadblock, or they get burnt out and they hate anything social media or posting, it's because they don't know who their audience is. So they're just making music to hopefully grab somebody's attention, and it's not going to help. How many of you know that you have to write down your goals? You have to write down what you want, what you're working towards, who it is that you want to meet throughout your life. Like, a vision board. I want a house. I want a spouse. I want kids. I want this type of money coming in. I want this type of car. It's the same thing with your target audience. I want a woman. Her name is, I don't know. Her name is Kathy. I don't know why. I just thought of the weirdest name ever. Kathy. Okay. She is 26 years old. Kathy likes to go to H&M, but sometimes to go thrifting. Kathy is very passionate about civil rights. Kathy is very passionate about eating healthy. Kathy is very passionate about giving back to the community. The type of music that she listens to besides my music, she likes to listen to NDRE. She likes to listen to Erykah Badu, whatever. Okay. This is how specific you got to get with your audience. And then a lot of times people were like, well, I don't know how to think about, well, it's not a one-day thing. This is something that you actually have to sit down with. And if you got to sit down with it for 10 minutes a day to 30 minutes a day and keep coming back every week, every day and for a whole week till you finally figure it out, that's what you got to do. Okay. Because if you don't know your target audience, marketing is not going to work for you. Branding is not going to work for you. And your music is just hopefully going to get heard by somebody. And then you're going to have audience that you don't really like. Okay. So that's very key. And then picking out the keywords, like an example would be what artists make music for education, right? You want to think of keywords that people are going to search, and then you would hop up on that search. Okay. That's very helpful with SEO. And then who are you targeting? So then this is where this will come in handy. So I'm gonna give I'll give a brief example of what this is. I'll do a checklist of what it is that you need to do for a content strategy and to start out a content strategy. And then I also offer consultations on that too if y'all ever want to do it. And then what was the other question? Do you suggest paying for verification services as a way to garner higher level? No. The only time I would ever say that you should pay for that is if you hired a publicist and you really needed that check mark to get specific looks from specific publications. But if you haven't done the work beforehand, this is for people that have paid for verification that I know of. They've done everything under the sun. They've gotten articles. They've opened up for tours. They've traveled overseas. They're basically getting talked about all the time on social media, or they're getting loads of streams. They're getting loads of looks on their DSPs. That is the only time I'll ever say that you should pay for verification, but be very careful who you pay for that. And if you need to know who to pay for that, if you have done everything under the sun as far as work, content, showing up consistently, your engagement rate is up there, then come to me and I will guide you to the person that I do know that does it. I hope that answers your question. Now I see some more. Is there any more in the chat that I missed?
I think somebody, before we went on our Kathy rant, y'all are
The
crazy
Kathy rant.
Somebody said, any free tools or techniques that you have come across that may help growth? Also, how effective are hashtags?
Okay, awesome question. So any tools or techniques? I'm a huge fan of Later. I don't know if any of y'all know what that is, but Later is an amazing app. You can use it for free, where it would send you a notification to remind you when to post the thing that you have set a reminder for. It also has your caption that you had already written out, hashtags that you already put aside, and you basically just click on the media, it automatically copies your caption and your hashtags. It goes to the app that you want to post it on, and then it'll share it, and you don't have to think twice about it. The paid version does it for you, and they actually do it for TikTok as well. They're a TikTok partner now, which is pretty dope. So if you haven't seen yet, Instagram now offers the ability to schedule your reels. Game changer. Okay. TikTok hasn't done that yet. So that's the only time I would ever say that you should use later, because it will be very helpful for your TikTok if you have a hard time being consistent with that. For Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, you can schedule your posts now. And then another platform or tool that I suggest is my.repurpose.io. And I'll share these on a document, but I'll also put it in the chat so you can see. This is an awesome website that lets you use it for free in the beginning, but it's totally worth the cost once you decide to use the paid version. What it does is it repurposes all your TikToks or all your reels and puts it on Pinterest, any other platform that you want. It's pretty dope. And you don't have to think twice about it either. Because I know for those of us that get burnt out or have, 9 to 5 still, or have families, this is a game changer. Those are the two that stand out to me right now. Of course, if I think of any others, I'll go ahead and put it on a PDF, or I'll put it in the community chat and I'll share it with y'all. How effective are hashtags? So they're not as effective as we all used to think back in the day. If you are still on TikTok and you're posting hashtag FYP, stop. Because all it's doing is drowning your content out from all the other people that are using it. When you use hashtags that are too popular, it's going to drown out your content because everybody and their moms is using it. You want to make sure that you use one popular hashtag besides Explore or besides FYP. You want to use one popular hashtag. You want to use mid-level hashtags. So it's not used too much, but it's still on maybe in the low millions or the high thousands. And then you want to use one that's your branded hashtag, and that's it. For TikTok, in my opinion, you only need, I always say you need 0 to 2 hashtags on TikTok, meaning you don't need a hashtag at all because their AI is so on point. It'll grab your caption if you're very specific with your keywords. And you're very specific with your keywords on your video, you don't need hashtags half the time. But if you do use a hashtag, only use up to 2 because you don't want to drown it out. You got to treat your caption as real estate on TikTok because the way they have it, it's very short. They've allowed you to add more words now, but it's still it's not the same as you would see on Instagram Reels or Facebook Reels. Hashtags basically rank number 6 when it comes to helping with virality. So I have a score, a point system. So the first amount of point, the most amount of points would be your actual the shareability. So the amount of times it's been shared, that's when the virality starts to happen. So shares are what you want the most. And that's why clear call to action is very important, because the more you tell people, an example would be are you struggling with marketing? Well, go ahead and share this with 3 people and keep watching. So you're constantly telling people what to do. So when they share it more, it's going to help your chances of getting seen more and more. And then the algorithm is going to see this. And then the FYP is going to start pushing your content to more people that are wanting to watch the content that you have. The second amount of points for virality would be comments. You want people to truly engage. That's actually, shout out to Yudu. Yudu gave me an idea for my TikTok and was like, hey, Sabrina, your TikToks are dope. I love them. I'm learning a lot from them. But you're not telling people what you used to do. So people are not thinking that you're actually valid. You don't come from a place of experience. He was like, why don't you tell people what you used to do? So the second I said, I'm Sabrina Vaz-Holder. I used to work at a record label. I told them that what it was distributed through. I told them what I did. And then I asked them in my video and in my caption, I want to hear who you are, introduce yourself, and tell me what you do in the music industry or how long you've been doing music. Because of that, people were introducing themselves like crazy. And because they saw what I did, they wanted to answer it and engage with it because I actually care what they were doing. And that actually helped me get to over 1,000 followers and then some. So you got to make sure you have clear call to actions with that when it comes to comments. And then the third thing that you really want to make sure that helps with virality or helps with reach is likes. Views is the last thing on the point system alongside with hashtags. Hashtags just helps categorize things. It doesn't help you get more views. It doesn't help you get more shares or anything like that. It just helps you put you in a category when people search in a specific category. But that's why you should use not so popular ones. What are the qualifications to monetize YouTube and YouTube Shorts? So YouTube actual like full length videos, you want to have at least minimum 1,000 subscribers. It's the same thing with Spotify. If you don't have 1,000 followers on your Spotify and you don't have 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube, you're not going to get the looks. You're not going to get the monetization on YouTube. And Spotify editors actually look to see if you have 1,000 minimum, because if they see that you don't, they're not really convinced that people want to hear you or you have a demand for your music. And so your goal should always be to have at least 1,000 followers across the board. Okay. That's on social media. That's on YouTube. That's on Spotify. So that should always be your goal. And then it's also 4,000 watch hours within the last 30 days, I believe. For YouTube Shorts, now they have it to where if you have 10 million watch hours, no matter what, and 1,000 subscribers, you're good. You can be monetized. And I know you're thinking like, you're like 10 million views on my shorts. No, it's 10 million views with shorts and your videos combined. And they're not putting a time limit anymore on how many days, because it recycles for the actual content for the video. But for YouTube Shorts, it's 10 million, YouTube Shorts and videos, it's 10 million across the board. Doesn't have a time limit or timestamp. And then 1,000 subscribers, that's when you can start monetizing. And then I love how Mickey spelled Kathy with a C. Okay. Okay. Who knows? Unless it's spelling.
We got another question in the Q&A.
Okay. All right. Let me look. And if there's any more in the comments, let me know. All right. When is the right time to hire a publicist in relation to my marketing? Okay. So good question, Zavi. So a publicist is great to hire when you've at least had a library of 5 songs or more. And by those 5 songs, these are strong features. These are strong, like there's strong marketing campaigns being done behind it. So that's organic and paid advertisement behind it. And you're also showing up consistently on your social media and you're doing shows. And you're basically promoting yourself and rubbing shoulders with the right people. Public relations is also great when you have a whole bunch of assets, as far as like you have professional photos, you have video to work with, and you have a budget. That's actually the number one thing, when you have a budget and when you have a fan base, because when you don't have those two, you're not ready. You need to have a consistent budget. And to be honest, if you don't have a consistent budget of $1,750 to $2,000 a month set aside for public relations, you're not ready for it. And it's not just for a 1-month thing. Like, this is at least bare minimum 3 months. And even then, that's cutting it too close. You need to have at least like 6 months. Because when you do that, it's consistent. Because the thing about public relations, the thing with social media, music in general, if you stop, go, the industry is going to stop caring about you. That's just the way it is. And then as far as fan base, this is where marketing, this is why in our agency, I started offering marketing to our clients, because then when they wanted to hire public relations, they at least started developing their fan base. Because when you don't have fans, and then these articles are posting your content that is being delivered by the publicist, and they're talking about it, but then you're not getting views, you're not getting shares. What's the point? So you basically just threw $1,750 to $2,000 for public relations, but nobody's buying your music. And now you've got no money in the piggy bank because you don't have fans and you're not getting return of investment. So when you are ready to hire publicists, you need to make sure that you have $1,750 minimum set aside a month, and you need to have a fan base. And by fan base, I mean, like, even if you had 100 followers, at least those 100 people are spending $100 with you every month. Okay. So, How much would you say a good publicist costs? Well, my husband's a publicist and his campaign started at 2000. So 1750 to 2000. 1750 is for like the artists that are just starting out and they really have a minimum budget, but he doesn't go less than that. What that does is it covers everything from like relationships, it covers everything from like pitching to journalists. If you decide to do a tour, he would basically set things up for the city that you'll be in. So that's what that would cover. But a good publicist is 1750 to 2000 bare minimum. And you want to make sure that the publicist doesn't promise to add you onto so many sites or doesn't promise you to have specific types of looks whenever you have a song or a video release. Because if you ever find a publicist that oversells and then underdelivers, you're going to be highly upset. So just keep an eye on that type of red flag when it comes to public relations. Okay.
I think we got time for maybe one or two more questions. I see Mickey just threw one in there. If anyone else wants to throw a last question in the Q&A or the chat, after this, we'll rock.
Okay, cool. So thoughts on engaging audience off of socials like email marketing, SMS marketing, stuff like Superphone. Just develop owned audience. Okay, so engaging audience off of socials. It's I don't know if y'all ever tried posting free events or like meet and greets on Eventbrite, but I highly recommend those. That's a great way to be able to engage with people off of socials. Email and SMS marketing is my number one go-to. That's how you can engage with people. And then how much social be used to develop owned audience? I would say honestly 50-50 in my opinion. That way you're developing relationships with people one-on-one. You're also getting comfortable with being in front of people more often. People tend to relate with artists one-on-one too, but it also depends on the audience. If your audience is more millennial based, you're going to thrive with one-on-one interactions and off social interactions. That's emails, that's texting, and then that's live shows, open mics, meet and greets, listening sessions. They're going to thrive off of stuff like that. Even like a pop-up merch, like if you have merch and you want to do a pop-up shop somewhere in a city that you have a large amount of audience at, let them know like, hey, I'm going to be at the city at this time. I'm going to be in your city. I'm going to have a pop-up shop for my merch. Come by. First 10 people get something free or whatever it is that you want to offer. Now, if you have a Gen Z audience, they thrive on social media. It's all about screen time. So that's it. Again, it all depends on your target audience, who you want to interact with. Because if your audience is Gen Z, you got to start showing up live, showing up on the screen more, recording everything and anything, because they're going to eat that up. I don't know what it is about the younger audience. They just don't want to talk to people. They're just, I guess, afraid of it. So the only time I feel like Gen Z really thrives with one-on-ones is when there's a live show and they do like the meet and greets before a live show or after a live show. I hope that answered your question, Mickey.
And I'll add a little onto that because we've used this strategy to build businesses, to build brands, to build artists' careers. The key to social media is simple, right? Your ability to post your shit and share it with people who are following you. Everyone's doing that. If you really want to grow on social media, it's getting other people to post about you. That's what success looks like for any business, any brand, any sports team, any celebrity, or any aspiring artist, right? Mm-hmm. So if I post my song 100 times myself and the same 45 people see it, that's cool. They know about it. If the 45 people who rock with me post it one time, I'm going to have exponential more reach. And so the goal is even, I love that Mickey asked about like the offline. It's like even offline, if I pull up to an event and I see you and we take a picture together and you post it and tag me, I think there's a little bit more benefit, right? I still had to connect with you in person, but the takeaway is obviously if I post a picture and show like, yo, I pulled up and supported Mickey at an event, my fans will see it or my friends will see it and be like, that's nice. But if Mickey posts it and tags me, he might have 300 people who have no idea who I am, who now may click and say, who is this person? And so if you want to grow your social media and you want to do it for free, Learn how to get other people to take pictures of you and videos of you and post it on their socials.
And
That's
that's why I say fans are your number one. That's your number one goal because they're your advocates, like you just said. Those are that's your free street team from back in the day. Like this is your current street team. Yeah, that's on point. I missed one quick question. So how do I grow email lists effectively? It's finding something of value that you can offer to your audience. So whether that's exclusive music that nobody's heard yet, whether that's merch that hasn't been released to the public, maybe the first 10 people will get the exclusive merch or whatever. It's something that you want to provide value to make them want to sign up for you. Or even like if you offer, if you're a music entrepreneur, you do more than just music and you have something that you have expertise in, you can offer like a free download for people to download. And then they would use their email. For me, how I get an email list is every time I get consultations or anytime I have somebody do a free download for a PDF that I offer, I'm storing those emails and I'm using that to like stay in contact with people. So I hope that helps with that. But yeah.
right. I think we're gonna wrap it up. V, if you can post Sabrina's link in the chat, and obviously we'll put it in the community as well. Sabrina, thank you so much for this time, for these gems. I learned a lot. I'm horrible as it relates to posting on social media. And I've definitely been advised by both you and Q. And I'm still working on my bio 2 years later. I will get that done. That's one of my vision board items for this year is to get y'all my bio finally. But everybody in the audience who's still here, thank y'all for rocking with us. If y'all can give Sabrina claps, thumbs up, fire emojis, whatever you can, just to show your appreciation. Davina has put the link in there for Sabrina, and Sabrina's going to throw it in the community as well. You guys, please make sure to reach out, get your consultations in. If you're doing any kind of rollout, or if you're just starting out and you want to dive deeper and go through the branding exercise or just overall ideas and thoughts, Sabrina is a gem. Somebody, again, I work with both Sabrina and her husband, with artists at multiple levels. And like I said, the reason I love her approach is she kept it real, right? $250 a month is what you need. $500 is really what you want a month. So right now, if you're an artist and you're getting ready to start your rollout, at least you walk away from this with a number. All right, I got to work, start saving up, and I know I got to put at least $500 aside, and then I can connect with a Sabrina and say, hey, if I have a budget now, what's the best approach? What's the best practices? What's some organic stuff I can do while I'm building? So thank you again, Sabrina. Anything you want to close with?
No, I appreciate y'all listening and ask questions in the community. That's what I'm in there for. And I look forward to hearing from all of you. Oh, right. I got I'll put in the chat marketing checklist on what to do for your releases. So that it goes all the way back to like 8 weeks to the day of release. So I'll put that in the group chat too.
That's dope. That's definitely needed. And Mickey, we can probably add that to the resource list in the community.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you guys, Sabrina is in the community, so you guys can connect with her there. When we get off here, just tag her, ping her. You will not bother her because this is what she does for a living, and she does it very well. But as a professional, the same way you guys are looking to get paid as artists, she also gets paid for her expertise. So I'm sure she'll give you guys quick gems and tips and responses. But if it starts crossing the line in a consultation, pay the woman, because this is her living, this is her career. But thank you, Sabrina. And Sabrina also has a course in our learning platform. So if you guys haven't already, go and take that. We're working on a series with her, so we'll be doing multiple courses throughout the year. And if there's anything you want Sabrina to teach or come back and discuss in a webinar, just let us know, and we'll hopefully be able to get her back as she gets busier and busier and busier being a entrepreneur, mom, wife. Now she's in the gym kicking ass, doing her thing. But thank you, Sabrina.